Hey, friends and investors, this is Dave coming with another episode of Space Stocks News. I like to do this once every couple weeks as we cover a lot of space companies on this channel. I figure it's a good idea for all of us to keep abreast of the latest news and developments in the space industry, follow other space companies. I know sometimes if you're only invested in one company, you don't notice as much what the competition and other companies in the industry are doing, and it's important to stay up. Before we dive into that, though, I just wanted to let you know that entries to our Q3 investing competition on the Discord server are going to be closed as of the end of the month. So this is your last call to sign up to Q3's investing competition that we run on the Discord. If you're not in the Discord server, there is a link down below, and the investing competition is really just, if you want to participate, enter in your percentage return that you had in Q3. As it's a percentage basis, it doesn't matter if you have a small account or a large account, anyone could potentially win. And the person with the highest percentage quarter in the end wins. We'll be doing this for every quarter as well as year going forward, just a fun way to promote discussion and have a little competition among friends. So I've already had a lot of fun with it, talked to a few different people about their strategies, see who's leading the pack right now. It's just a lot of fun. Link again in the description if you're interested in signing up. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive into the latest space stocks news. So starting off with Rocket Lab, as always, it's my biggest company in the space industry. It's been a bit of a quieter couple weeks for them, but we have had a new Electron rocket arriving at Launch Complex 2 in the United States, getting ready for that inaugural launch from the new complex in the United States. We'll be very excited to see that finally take off. The mission will deploy satellites for radio frequency geospatial analytics provider Hawkeye 360, and it will be Rocket Lab's first liftoff from Launch Complex 2 at Virginia's Space Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. Next up, Rocket Lab was selected to build solar panels for NASA's Cadre mobile robot program. These are very small, kind of shoebox size, so it won't be massive solar panels, but definitely every contract helps with their Solero business. We've also had a few more buys from ARK on the 26th of October as they added shares to both their ARKQ and ARKX funds. NASA also ordered 3 more Orion spacecraft for their Artemis program. Not completely unexpected, but still good news for contractor Lockheed Martin, who is the prime contractor to NASA for the Orion program and has completed 2 Orion vehicles previously, EFT-1, which flew in 2014, and on Artemis 1, which is weeks away from its launch. Now, although Lockheed Martin is the primary contractor on this mission, Rocket Lab and their Solero business did make the panels previously for these 2 spacecraft, so it seems highly likely that Rocket Lab may be getting the business for these future craft as well. Another good bit of news for that Solero business line. Just a little interesting piece of news here, although they're not publicly traded, we have seen that SpaceX has now topped Boeing as second highest contractor behind California Institute of Technology. So they are receiving the most money now, finally surpassing Boeing, as we're really seeing this new wave of space companies starting with the advent of commercial crew and commercial cargo kind of coming into their own here. It's great to see a lot of these new companies really maturing successfully. Also, some bad news here. We do have Russia threatening to launch military attacks on commercial satellites that are aiding in the Ukraine war. These include SpaceX's Starlink satellites, as well as Planet Labs and Maxar, who are providing imaging services to Ukrainian forces. If this did happen, it would be completely devastating, not only to those companies in question, but the entire space environment, as any explosion of a satellite creates massive amounts of debris, which can then cascade, cause more collisions, and kind of destabilize the entire orbital environment. So if you're a fan of any space company at all, you really don't want this to happen. I don't think it will. It's probably just threats and bluffs, but even if there's a 1% chance of something like this happening, it would be absolutely catastrophic. Meanwhile, we do have Australia signing on, committing to never make any anti-satellite missile attempts, signing on to other countries like Canada, the US, and many others. So great to hear that from Australia, and a very stark difference from Russia, who is really threatening to cause massive damage to the entire space industry. Next up is Relativity. They are in the final innings of prep work for Good Luck Have Fun, their first orbital flight attempt. This will be on their Terran 1 rocket. They had a 9 Aeon engine test fire on October 25th during Stage 1 testing at LC-16. So good luck to Relativity on their first test flight of the Terran 1 3D printed rocket. More news from Relativity. They announced recently the path to Terran R production and scale by unveiling their new Stargate 4th generation 3D printer. These 3D printers will underpin both the development and rate production of Terran R, Relativity's fully reusable 3D printed rocket that will be capable of launching 20,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit. The newest Stargate printer defies traditional printing constraints by moving horizontally as opposed to vertically, as it feeds multiple wires into a single print head to print orbital rockets. Relativity is developing customized software and machine learning techniques to allow these printers to print more complex and significantly larger metal products, which improve print speed and reliability. Stargate 4th generation printers also radically simplify manufacturing supply chains, as they are capable of printing a rocket with 100 times fewer parts in a matter of months. So Relativity is really doubling down and investing in their 3D printing, which allows them to iterate and change their rocket designs extremely quickly, as opposed to other companies that use different manufacturing techniques. Once you're kind of locked into those molds and production processes, it's very hard to change, unlike 3D printing. So good news for Relativity, and we'll see how their Terran R rocket proceeds in the future. Also, Virgin Galactic has now been downgraded by Bernstein. They are losing faith in Virgin Galactic as the company pushes off commercial space flights and continues burning through cash. Analyst Doug Harn downgraded the stock to sell and advises clients not to buy. So a little bit of a rough news there for Virgin Galactic shareholders. Speaking of Virgin Galactic, I just found this kind of interesting, a little bit of a hot take here by Eric Berger. He's a writer and covers the space industry closely, kind of giving a commentary on Chamath Palihapitiya, famous investor, kind of hyping up Virgin Galactic and then selling it. It's hard to criticize anyone who did well, but definitely there have been a few things I've disagreed with Chamath about in the past, and in this case he really did hype up the stock, and now he's currently talking about how these manias were a little bit too crazy, and guess it doesn't sit too well with Eric. And then we have Virgin Orbit making an announcement as well on October 18th. The Luxembourg Directorate of Defense has signed a letter of intent with Virgin Orbit to advance responsive space capability across Europe and benefit NATO and other allies. In this initiative, they will develop a plan for the development, delivery, mobilization, and sustainment of Launcher 1 ground support equipment and other responsive launch infrastructure that would be allocated for Allied use. So we've seen Rocket Lab talking a lot about responsive launch lately, and Virgin Orbit is as well, as they want to be able to launch quickly and with as little red tape as possible. Interesting to see where this goes for Virgin Orbit and their new launch capability out of the United Kingdom. So congratulations to Virgin Orbit on this announcement. If you're enjoying this video, please hit like and subscribe. It'll really help out the channel. I appreciate every single subscriber so much as we continue to try and push towards our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Also, we had an interesting chart here released from Spaceworks that I just came across recently. It shows the performance of the traditional space index, you might think of as the old school space companies, versus a lot of the newcomers in the Spaceworks New Space Index. And you can see that the new space massively outperformed back around 2021, and then we had a absolutely massive decline here with the new space stocks completely plummeting in value as the stock market really punishes companies that are not yet profitable, investing for the future, and don't have great cash flows. So perhaps an indicator that the one is undervalued now compared to the other, and we should see a bounce back when markets become more favorable. But I would leave that decision up to you, and I would caution that definitely not all new space companies are equal, and you should do your due diligence before investing in any individual company, because some of them do have very difficult cash situations right now. So make sure to do your research out there. There are some gems, I do believe, but there are some ones that can really hurt you. So definitely proceed with caution. So that's it for space news this week. We do have some new contracts for Rocket Lab, new contracts for Lockheed Martin, new announcements from Relativity and Virgin Orbit, bad news for Virgin Galactic and a big downgrade from an analyst there. And of course, we do have Rocket Lab's third quarter earnings coming up very soon. I'll be sure to cover those in depth, as I always do. We're also getting very close to Rocket Lab's next catch attempt as they attempt to bring a Electron rocket back from orbit all the way safely to land this time and then reuse it in the future. I do plan on live streaming that as well, so if you're interested in any of that content, please hit like and subscribe down below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.